Welcome back, everybody. I know it has been a hot minute since I've been on here, but we have a new fight breakdown for you. Now, in today's fight breakdown, we have a woman who appears to be leaving the pool area of a hotel resort of some sort. She starts walking down the hallway. Shortly after, a male leaves the exact same pool area. He begins to follow her down the hallway and then proceeds to chase her down, pick her up, and start carrying her to an undisclosed room. I don't know if it's a closet, stairwell. It doesn't matter. Here's the full video. Now, I'll be honest, I was quite disappointed to see that at no point does this woman make any attempt to fight back. However, I've been teaching self-defense long enough to know that that is not an uncommon response, especially for people that don't train, and even more so for people that are not exposed to violence. I have found through my teachings that a lot of people kind of walk through life with the mindset of, I don't need to train, I don't need to carry any form of personal protection, I don't need to do anything to essentially keep myself safe because it would never happen to me. And that is a terrible mindset to have. Reason being, if you ever do find yourself in a situation where you do have to protect yourself and you do have to get physical, if you are not in the right headspace, if you've never done physical training, your body is not going to have any idea what to do, and more likely than not, this is going to be your response. This particular type of attack is extremely common, especially against women. This is also an incredibly common position to find yourself in sport, more specifically MMA. And what I'm talking about is when somebody comes up and gets like a rear body lock on you, tries to pick you up to spike you on the ground, right? Nonetheless, we have some options on how to get yourself out of this particular type of situation, whether it's for self-defense or for sport. Check it out. So first things first, anytime someone gets these grips around your waist, our ultimate goal here is not to get picked up. This person is grabbing you around the waist in this type of situation to get you up off your feet and drag you somewhere. So I want to make sure that I can stay grounded, I get nice and heavy. The first way that you can do that, because keep in mind, most of the time when people do get these grips, it's going to be immediately. They lock the hands and they're already starting to elevate you. So you have a small window where I can take the leg, go to the same side leg, and I'm just going to hook my foot behind his knee. That way, if he tries to pick me up from here, it's going to be very difficult for him to do so. So if we cut an angle a little bit, again, all I'm looking to do, he gets his hands around, I quickly just hook this foot around his leg. Anytime I feel him trying to pick me up, this is what we're going to do so that I can keep myself nice and grounded. They might get you up like an inch or so. If he's really pulling nice and hard, he might just get you off the ground a little bit, but what's going to happen more so is he's getting tired, he's going to wear his grips out a little bit, which makes it difficult for him to continuously do that over and over. That works in my favor. The next part is I want to start getting nice and heavy. So once we've established that, we've nullified his initial pickup, I drop my weight and I want to get heavy. And this is the next big thing that you need to do anytime somebody gets a body lock around you is get heavy. Put that weight down. I'm not trying to sit because I'm not really going to, sure, I might nullify his ability to pick me up, but I've also put myself in a position where I can't really do anything else from here. So anytime I hear people suggest oh, just sit to the ground, it doesn't really work in the long term, right? So I want to get heavy and I want to start kind of pressuring back into them a little bit. Now, how you do this is I can either keep my hips squared up facing forward, or I like to cut a little bit of an angle. Either way, I'm pushing back into him a little bit. Now, again, with everything, there's limitations. I'm not trying to fully lean back where he could just pull and snap you down to the ground, but I want to put some pressure back into him. So again, if he's trying to manipulate me, move me around, try and pick me up, he's now starting to carry that weight a little bit more, makes it harder and harder for him to establish those grips and keep those grips, which is what we're ultimately trying to do. Now, the common mistake I see when people get into this position is just sitting here and start trying to throw punches, right? I see it a lot with the women's self-defense. We're gonna start scratching eyes and pulling hair and doing all that stuff. Again, good grapplers are going to have their heads protected. Even if he has his head hanging out to one side, there's really not much that I can do. Yeah, I might be able to hit him from here. I'm not really getting any power, nothing that's going to get him to let go or put him to sleep, right? It's more so just going to be a nuisance at that point. I can also sit here, elbow in on the forearms. I might be able to strike on the thigh. Maybe the only exception would be if I'm at a little bit of an angle and I can use a free hand, I might be able to get off a few shots to the groin. That might break the grip, or I might be able to grab the groin, squeeze, twist, pull, do whatever I need to do, and that might also release the grip. And if at any point the grip releases, then our only goal at that point is to disengage and square back up. I'm not trying to sit there. So if at any point during anything that we're doing, maybe he's struggling to pick me up, and as we drop down, he loosens that grip because he wants to make an adjustment, whatever, and I feel those hands disconnect, we're out, we're turning back in, and we're just, again, putting some distance between us. So just keep that in mind. At the end of the day, I'm not sitting here trying to apply damage. He's not hitting me, so I'm not worried about getting knocked out. And if he is going to hit me, what does he have to do? He has to let go of the grip. And the moment that grip opens for him to throw a punch of any sort, again, we disengage. So we've nullified his ability to pick me up. We've started to get heavy. We've started to kind of put some pressure back onto him to make it harder for him to move us around. Now we have to deal with the grips. And there's really two ways that we focus on this. Number one, we're going to kind of work our way out and turn back into him, and we're going to put pressure on his hands while we do so. Now, I'm not trying to split my grip, meaning that I go one-on-one and I start trying to push it down from here. It's not really going to do me much good, especially when you have a strong guy like this. I want to hyper focus on one hand. I don't care if I go the top hand or the bottom hand. In a perfect world, I'm going both palms onto their hand, or I like to kind of go on the wrist and the hand at the same time, and I'm trying to put everything I've got into the one hand, and all we're trying to do is peel this off. I'm pushing straight down and just trying to peel and separate that hand. Once I do separate that, because I have control of the hand, it's going to be difficult for him to be able to immediately lock those hands back up. Now, we're not just going to sit in place and do this. As I've dropped my weight, go ahead, grab back up. As I've dropped my weight, I'm going to start walking my hips out, because again, that puts pressure on his hands as it is. So as I walk my hips out, I push that hand down until we break that grip. Once we've done this, depending on your experience and the overall circumstances, now we have options from here. On a simple level, if you have minimal fighting experience, we're gone 100-yard dash, just run away as fast as you possibly can. If anything, I might kind of turn and square back up to him and get my hands out. This might be the time for you to access pepper spray, whatever other tools you want to access to, again, keep that distance between you and your attacker. Or if you have a little bit more experience and maybe you feel the need to re-enter, take things down, I do have the option where I can turn and enter right back into a body lock of my own, and maybe I can take them down from there. Again, depends on circumstances, depends on your experience. At the very minimal, again, with that as well, I can also turn, and now we start working all these close quarter strikes, elbows, headbutts, knees, anything, again, because we're nice and close and we're in the inside, I can get the groin, face, neck, all those things, right? Now, the second way that we break this grip is, let's say we start kind of getting out here. I've got the 2-on-1, I've got my hip pressure, I'm driving back into him, and for some reason, he's just got that death grip, right? I can't break those hands. At this point, I'm going to take the inside elbow, and I'm going to start driving that elbow back to the inside as I start trying to turn back in. And now what I'm doing is getting some leverage underneath his arm, so if he is still maintaining that grip, I'm able to use this to re-enter. And now I have the underhooks, which will beat his overhooks. And again, from here, I can start working these if I need to. I can work off to the back. And now from here, I can take him down, or I can disengage, get some space, do what I need to do from there. But at the end of the day, again, anytime somebody gets these body locks, whether it is sport or self-defense, the first thing that we have to do, keep ourselves on the ground. Especially in sport, you see these guys get these body locks and then right away, they're picking you up, spiking you, slamming you down on the ground. So I need to get heavy. If I feel them starting to pick me up, again, we hook that leg right away, and then everything else from there is hand fighting. Focus on that. Focus on clearing these grips and not allowing them to reestablish that once you have broken the grip. We separate, we get some distance, we do some damage, and we go from there. Now for this specific video, let's come over to the wall here for a minute. Because they are in a hallway for this type of situation, if there is a big size discrepancy, you can use the wall to your advantage. So if I feel somebody grab me and there is a wall behind me, I can push myself back and now use that wall as a point where now I can put all my weight into him. Whereas again, if we're out in the open and he feels me pushing heavy into him, he could just snap you down. When we're on the wall, there's nothing that we can do from there. He can't snap me down, he can't pick me up, but now I'm in a position where, again, I can still fight these grips, I can start working some strikes now, I can clear, do damage, and then we can get out of there as quickly as possible. So if you have a hard surface nearby, use it, slam him into it, use that as a point of control where he can't move anymore, and now I can just push and drive everything I have. So if there is a big size discrepancy, I can use something like a hard surface to work in my advantage, which allows smaller people to help take on bigger, stronger people. Now, let me just clarify something. I'm not saying that you shouldn't throw strikes in this situation. What I am saying is that you need to focus first and foremost on grip control. That means you either have to focus on breaking your attacker's grip or you need to position yourself in a manner that essentially nullifies their grip. In other words, you are forcing this person now to reposition themselves because they no longer have control. Once you've done one of those two things, you are now in a position where you can safely throw strikes, and you can throw strikes that are actually going to apply damage. Because let's be honest, if somebody is on your back with a rear body lock and you're throwing these back fists or hammer fists, the chances of you knocking that person out are slim to none. The chances of you doing enough damage where that person is going to let you go, slim to none. What most likely is going to happen, you might connect a few of those shots, you might bruise them, you might cut them a little bit, but more than likely you are going to piss them off to the point where they pick you up and slam you through the concrete. Now, the same mentality and philosophy applies for sport as it does for self-defense. Focus on grip control. Trust me, there will be plenty of opportunities for you to throw strikes, but in order to do that, you need to make sure that you are in a position to where that person no longer has control over you. Dominate the grips, do the damage, get out of there safely. Stay safe.